welcome back to Beyond the Rings, Paris 24 Outreach, 30 short stories in 30 days. I have a special guest with me today. If you know anything, if you've seen the other podcast when I had some of the ground team members with me, the more the merrier. I do better with other people. So Josh has kindly agreed to join us. Josh is the man. He's my friend. He's a brother in Christ. He is with Triple Play, who he does. I call you my my podcast producer, and because he has this wonderful studio that he allows us to work in. He does so much work behind the scenes to make the podcast happen. So thank you, Josh, for all you do, and thank you for joining me today, man.
It is a pleasure, and I'm excited. So you went to Paris. You've gone to how many Olympics exactly have you gone to?
So this is my 11th. It was
11th Olympics. So you've gone to 11 Olympics. There's one every other year. So that means basically 22 years of your life have been tied up in this ministry. I know there was some one that you missed in there, but really 22 years.
yeah
Every year you're preparing for the next one.
yeah
So what is it like behind the scenes in the preparation?
yeah. That's a great question. It's so your timing is so interesting in that because just today I came from my weight loss doctor. As you know, I've been working on losing weight this year. So at the beginning of this year, I knew there are three main areas you have to prepare for the Olympic outreach. You got to prepare spiritually. That's the most important thing. We got to make sure we're in tune with God and what He's leading us to do. We got to stay prepared spiritually. We got to prepare emotionally, socially, all that. My family, I got to make sure we're talking about it. We're praying about it. I'm talking about the plan, especially with my daughter. She's 14. When I'm gone, as long as I am, that's a big gap, you know. And then just as important is to prepare physically. And so the beginning of this year, by the beginning of this year, I'd gotten the biggest I'd ever been, embarrassingly so, but it happened. And I was really convicted about it. And thankfully, I'd asked my primary doctor about options. And I've tried every diet under the sun. And I'm great at losing weight, but I'm much better at finding it. I
Aren't we
regain
all?
it. Yeah.
I'm good at it too, buddy. It's
Yeah.
always a struggle for me too. We've
Yeah.
talked about how I weighed
Right.
100 pounds at one point
Yeah.
before you. So,
And so my conviction was my goal was if I could lose 50 pounds between January and July, I would be so much better positioned physically preparing for this outreach because it's glamorous. I'm in Paris. It's the Olympics. Are you kidding me? It's Olympics. It's a cool place to be and a cool time to be there, but it's also very demanding. It's day in, day out, walking lots of miles.
how many miles do you think you average in a day? If you had to
Um,
guess,
Probably about 5 to 7 miles a day,
5 to 7 miles a day.
every day.
So,
Yeah. Yep.
like I take my kids sometimes on like a 3 mile hike through Castlewood here
hmm
around here locally, and they're dying at the end of it. And
Yeah.
you're going up and down, you're going through cities, you're talking to
You're
people. So not only
standing
are you
most of the time. You don't sit. Yeah. 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 And it's from, you know, I get up when I in Paris. I did the daily video updates, and I got up an hour before everybody else. So I was up at 7 in the morning, going till 10 o'clock at night, and going the whole time. And you got to remember that because we all. I mean, you and I both. We're in ministry. We like to be around people, but we also need our alone time. We need our downtime. The only downtime you have is when you're asleep because you're sharing the room with part of your team. You're always with them, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're never alone. There's no so you're I'll use the phrase you're on all the time. And so preparing for that physically was very important for me. And so I started the journey. I was taking medicine, started walking. In January, I started walking. I think I was walking a mile a day in January.
so question, when you went to Paris, how did that compare to other places when it came to the demands of walking?
Great question. I always try to remind Americans when we rightfully complain about America because we're not perfect. But let me tell you, European countries, by and large, make no accommodations for people with physical needs. There are stairs everywhere in Paris, everywhere. I mean, you're going up two steps here, three down there, and they're everywhere. And so, and I kind of knew that. So by May of this year, I'd gotten up to
Yeah,
three.
they didn't really flatten their land up. When they built those
No.
cities, they didn't, because they're old, much older cities.
Yep.
So they were kinda just built and then they were just kind of modernized the way they already were, so they
Right.
were there's a lot more up and down
Yeah.
and just the how they're designed when you go to a lot of other
It
countries.
completely makes sense. I don't mean to ding them. I'm just saying because of that, there are stairs everywhere. And so, literally outside the hotel where we were, and our first, the driver who picked us up at the airport, van driver, and brought us to the hotel, went to the backside of it, which was on the back street, and it was at the bottom of 100 stairs.
You have a watch that tracked how
Yeah,
many
yeah,
steps you
my
took?
Apple
Okay.
Watch, yeah,
Did it
yeah.
tell you how many steps you took when you were there?
Oh, yeah, like I said, that's where I get the 5 to 7 miles.
Well,
It's,
but the
whatever.
steps, I mean,
Oh, yeah, yeah, the flights
stairs.
of stairs, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was doing I don't remember how many, it was
You gotta look that up. That would
yeah,
be
I would
very curious to see
yeah,
what you did on average here because, like, already walking 7 to 10 miles or 5 to 7 miles a day, that's gonna be demanding, but then when you add stairs in,
yeah,
so I do the Stairmaster a lot when I'm at the gym,
yeah.
and I can burn in 40 minutes what it takes me an hour and a half to do almost on any other piece of equipment.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because it grinds those muscles a lot more. You're actually when you're going up and down a stair, it actually engages your leg more.
yeah, yeah.
And so you're burning more, you're firing more, so just it makes me wonder, I bet you were burning probably somewhere between, if I had to guess, probably 5 to 7,000 calories a day, and
Oh,
you didn't even know it,
I could see that.
easily.
Some of my preparation was, every once in a while, I would walk over at the high school by my house, and I would do my 3-mile walk, and then at the end of it, I would do the bleachers.
Oh, yeah.
I'd go up and down the stairs of the bleachers 2 or 3 times the whole length of the bleacher stand, just to get those stairs in, to kinda build up some of the and expose my muscles to that, so doing it in Paris wouldn't be the first time, you know?
So that's the physical prep. The
Yeah,
spiritual prep, I imagine, is pretty big too, because you know that you're ineffective without the work of the Holy Spirit,
right.
and therefore, making sure one of the things I've respected about your ministry, and I was excited when we started partnering up with Triple Play with you, is the fact that you have thought this out and you have these pins, but not only do you have these pins are a great way to share without having to say a word in English, but then the fact that you did like the QR code and it
Yeah,
could go and hear some of these the gospel in different languages or be able to, use their Google against it and be able to
right.
check it out. So I just thought that was a really, really cool idea that you were able to do that and get the gospel out to other people. And then you also did, before you took off, you started everyday prayer requests for the
Yeah,
countries and for the athletes and
yeah.
for the mission. And that was really cool. And then I know through your website you were recruiting prayer partners
Mhm.
and giving partners, which is another piece of that too, right? I mean,
Oh,
people who are partnering up. You've said this before, and I know you'll continue to have to say it. Is that giving's a part of it because none of it costs nothing.
right.
So for those listening, there's a spot for the prayer warriors, but there's also a spot for those to engage in the giving aspect to be a part of it. Maybe they can't go to Olympics, but they can pray for Olympics and they can certainly contribute if God lays it on their heart to
Yeah.
helping out with the ministry of the Olympics, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, prayer and giving are foundational. So if you go to our website, beyondtherings.net, you'll see we basically look at it as 2 major teams. The ground team, those are the people who are on the ground the 17 days of the Olympics. They're there sharing the gospel. They're the ground team. But the support team makes the ground team possible. And we ask support team people to pray, give, and share. Pray about the Olympic ministry, not just us, but others that'll be there, the athletes that'll be there, the families that'll be there, the safety of everybody that'll be there, and the openness to the gospel and opportunities to share the gospel. And then seeds that are planted and that they would be followed up if they make a decision for Christ, that we can get them connected with a local Bible believing church wherever they are in the world, you know? Pray for a seed that was planted that somebody else would come along and water that seed and continue the conference. All kinds of prayer is foundational. So, yeah, we launched on January 1st, Pray Around the World in 266 days. And so we literally posted every single day on the Beyond the Rings face page, on my personal Facebook page, on Concord Church's Facebook page, those daily prayer requests, and then on our website, beyondtherings.net. And and I just thought it was important that we used Operation World, which don't know if you're familiar with them. They take and pray for a different country around the world, and they give you stats on what's the level evangelical presence, churches, what's the gospel, what's the evangelistic impact. Um, they give you percentages, and so I use that resource to fuel my content information for the countries. And we literally then I didn't just pray for any country. I went to the Team USA, not Team USA, the IOC International Olympic Committee page, and I saw all the countries that had um, submitted and been approved to send a team. And sometimes I can't think of any teams off the top of my head, but I know that this year there was only like one or two countries that had one or two athletes, and that was their country's representation. Whereas Americans, we have like hundreds. We're one of the largest, or could be thousands, one of the largest participants in the Summer Olympic Games. And and so I used those countries to feed. So we were praying for countries that would be there. Whether we get to encounter them or not, they'll be there. But then again, maybe we will encounter them. And so prayer is foundational, because one thing that I know in my life as a follower of Christ, in my life as a pastor, in my life as an Olympic ministry missionary, is we can't do anything without prayer. And somebody else will say to me, "Well, I can't give anything, but at least I can pray for you." No, the most you can do is pray for me. If you add a gift on top of it, that's just blessing. But if you got nothing else to give, pray, and that's going to be the difference maker. And I'm firmly convinced of that, because opportunities that I have just to be there, yeah, it takes money. It takes a lot of money. And I don't apologize for that. It is a truly unique ministry opportunity. I mean, it is the largest gathering, peacetime gathering in the world at any one time in any one place. And it's 17 days. That's why I say it's 17 days of Acts 1:8 all in one place. And so, but prayer is foundational to that. But yeah, you're right. Financially, had to raise more money than I ever had to raise before. And for the longest time, and I'm not still walking around going, "Hey, give me money, hey, give me money," but I've just gotten more comfortable with. And I've always kind of operated this way, but I felt like it was too personal to do it with the Olympics. But now that it's beyond just send me to the Olympics, it's help be a part of what God is doing in putting a new team on the ground. That's not just Jeff. I feel much more comfortable with this because I'm convicted of this, Josh, that if we rob people of the opportunity to give, we're robbing them the opportunity to be used by God in that. And I think oftentimes of Jesus and the the rich man and the widow giving her mite, that she gave more. What a shame it would have been if, out of pity, somebody would have scooped it up and handed it back to her and said, "Oh, no, 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 you keep this. You don't need to give it." She gave sacrificially, and that was meaningful for her. That was a significant part of her worship. And so that helps me reframe my mindset to say, I want people to know the need so that they can give and be a part of it in that way, if that's what God's leading them to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, if they want to come and hear more about this, how can I do that, Jeff?
Good question. It's almost like we planned this. Um, yeah, we have our outreach celebration coming up on Sunday afternoon, September 29th, 3 p.m. at Concord Church. Grateful for Concord Church, where I serve as one of their pastors, allowing us to host this there. We're asking people to come and join us for dessert and drinks as the BTR ground team shares stories, pictures, pins, and video from our pin training evangelism outreach during the Paris Olympic Games. Totally free, no registration required, just show up. But just know we're going to conclude our night together in celebrating Paris with launching Italy 26 and the Beyond the Rings outreach for that. And we will be taking a love offering. So we just ask people to prayerfully plan to be a part of that if they feel led.
Awesome. Well, we'll hope to see you guys there and catch you guys next episode.
Thanks, Josh. Until next time, guys.